guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage. Today we're working on the Forgotten 39 Hot Rod project. So the last video was kind of a really nice thing to get that rear lower corner done and get the back panel in place, and everything's looking pretty good and is nice and solid on the car. Now I can start tackling some of the stuff that has been bothering me, and also has definitely been bothering you guys. Have been commenting in the videos. Pretty funny, everybody giving me crap about the Firewall, but we're gonna get on it. So what I'm gonna work on today, because I think this is gonna take a little while, is number one, getting the dash out of the car. One of the things I want to do is I want to change the windshield frame out in this car. Ultimately, the one that's on it, the chrome, is really bad, and when you're dealing with cars like this where you're trying to like make crappy look cool, I guess is the way we could put it. We don't want to use the patina word, that sometimes makes people angry, but when you're trying to make a crappy old kind of rough around the edges car look cool, there's certain things you could do to make it look a little better. What I found is any old chrome or stainless that's like really ugly, really bad, if you replace it with something that's just a little better, maybe the chrome's all there but it's just a little faded, looks way better. So the front windshield frame, chrome's flaking off, it's rusty, it's crappy. I want to do all the glass in the car anyways, so I want to get the windshield frame out, so I need to take the dash out. Also, these 39s, pretty cool, they have a little hand crank that you can actually crank the windshield open. This one is seized, obviously, so I need to get the dash out, get all that stuff apart so I can see if I can get that working again, and also change the windshield out. By taking all of that stuff out, then we can more easily get to the Firewall, and I can work it from the inside, make a piece, TIG weld it or spot weld it in place, and we will get everything nice and situated there. So today I'm going to see how far I can get by taking all these pieces apart. We'll show you along the way what we find and just how bad it is underneath of that dash. Hoping there's no surprises. Fingers crossed. Replacement windshield. I got this somewhere in my estate auction travels over the years. I somehow ended up with a crap ton of like these, I guess they're 37 to 39 or 37 to 40, I forget, windshield frames, and this one is actually in not too bad a shape, a little bit of rusting. We're pitting on the chrome, but it's not too bad. I think it'll actually polish up pretty nicely, way better than the one that's on there. And of course we can replace the glass in it. I could just have glass cut off for the patterns of these. So that's that. All right, so gotta get some light in here. So a couple of these lights I've been using, Eastwood modular light. It's one you guys see in a lot of videos. They are magnetic, and then they have a little tripod that you can use, and they have a little foot here you can stand. So they are like so bright they actually mess with the camera a little bit. So see how like intense the light is. So a lot of times what I like to do is you can actually turn the brightness down. So I'm going to turn this guy down quite a bit and see if I can hang him from a B-pillar or something like that. That will give us a little bit of light. And then I got this little interchangeable head one that you can use. I've been using this on the bead roller with a little bendy head that you can put on it. This is a little bar light. If you guys that were watching the Sweetheart Roadster project, I was using that quite a bit when I was doing the Firewall work, because we could turn this light on and has a magnetic base, so you can hang it and you can kind of direct the light where you need it. So we can really get that focused wherever we want it. So I'm putting that kind of on the ground and focusing it wherever I need light, because we're going to need to see under the dash on this thing for sure. So between the two of those, I should be able to see what's going on. This is the hand crank here we were talking about for the windshield. It seems to turn a little bit. Only thing I'm worried about is I think the gears on these tend to break, and I'm hoping that this one isn't. But I don't want to mess with it too much, because if the windshield's stuck, it could cause a problem. So I want to give it every chance to work as I can. We'll see what happens. But so we need to take that guy off. I know there's a little flathead screw in there I got to get out. There's a bunch of Phillips heads that go around here for the garnish molding. I'm gonna have to get this garnish molding out first. Then we could start. I know we threw the 2 bolts for the steering column back up just so we can move the car. I'm gonna have to get up under there and take those down again, and then just see what other bolts are hidden that I might forget about. I did this on the parts car, came from the same swamp, but I can't remember. That was too long ago, many hundreds of hours of wrenching ago. So let me get some Phillips head, see if I can get these screws out for the garnish molding. That'll be a start. That guy was already part of the way out. 2 screws already missing, great. Helps me. Oh boy. Alright, so that one's already loose. It's really quite surprising how well the hardware comes out in this car. I think it was really the only reason it was so rusty in the bottom was because of where it sat and the damp on the outside got to the bottom half of the car. This was probably a pretty nice, pretty solid car when it was put in the junkyard or parked outside. But give that 30 years or more, 40 years. And rust termites will get to it. Header panel's a little crunchy there, but I don't think it's rotted. I think it's just saving it in time. Alright, one out. See how the old headliner there, I think it had somebody put a headliner in this thing at some point. Wow. Alright, garnish molding's out. Now, next thing we need to do is on the top here, well, not the next thing, but the next thing I'll probably attack. So along the top of these dashes, there are a bunch of flathead screws that can be a bear to get out, depending on the car and how long it's been sitting, etc. This one has a couple of flatheads, but then I see there's like a little sheet metal screw with a hex head on it. So this dash was probably out at some point, I would think, when they did the swap maybe. So fingers crossed that means these flatheads will come out. So I'm going to grab another screwdriver so you can get that loose. And I'll grab a 7/16 or 1/2 inch for the steering column and start removing those fasteners. We get that one screw out. All right, I think I got the dash basically off. I found that the center crank knob was actually, there was no set screw in it to that locks it in so that it turns the windshield out. So I don't know if the splines might be in not great shape, I'm not sure, but anyways, got this off without too much fit, but we got all this now, so I need to get all the loose wiring underneath. We're going to be redoing all the wiring in the car, so I'm just going to lop it all off under here, and then from the, oh, that's great. There is, oh man, I gotta show this. 1 second. So, you guys will love this. This is our fuse holder here for something. It's just like 3 wires screwed together, and then there was a little like fuse holder thing, I guess. Great. I don't know, that might have been for the radio, I'm not sure, but there's you can see the ignition switch there. This was probably out of the, you know, the 50s car that the Y block came out of. Got a flasher and all that junk up there. There's the original coolant temperature gauge. They must have just had hanging under the dash, because they took that gauge out that does multiple things, and they had two little gauges there. So I think that's actually broken off. We'll find out here. Maybe we're wrong. Oh wow, no, I was wrong. Glad I didn't cut it off. There's the capillary tube. So we actually have a good, if the stuff hasn't dried up inside of it, that might actually be a good gauge. Somebody redoing a car. But I'm going to cut all these wires out anyways and pull the dash. Hopefully the dash will come out. I got to pull the wire out for that neat old fan. We are going to keep that fan. That's one of the key things that we definitely want to keep, because it's just so neat, and it came in the car. So we'll save that, but I'll probably cut the wiring and we'll have to rewire it. Turn signal. May or may not use that. What the heck that was to? What did that run to? Oh, for the vacuum for the windshield wiper. How did that thing even stay in there? Okay. Just that one screw. Alright, so I think I got everything loose. Here, I got this one. They put a sheet metal screw with a hex head on it, and I couldn't get to it to get it out. So luckily it was actually a little smaller than the hole, so it popped through. Right here, it's gonna pull it up over the windshield wiper, or I'm sorry, the windshield crank stud. This random wiring that's gonna want to come with. We'll let it for now. Yes. All right. There we go. All right. Well, we gotta get rid of this. What's left of the original glove box. Wow. All right. There we go. Dashboard out. All right, so got the dash out as you guys saw, and now we can really see how bad. Oh, how bad this firewall really is. So, got a battery tray mod there with a piece of flat bar that they just bent 90 and bolted in through the sheet metal, holding the battery there. So we're gonna definitely need to take care of that. That's actually, as far as I'm concerned, a pretty straightforward repair. I'll probably just close in the little battery box area and make it a little less crude. Just walked in a little bit. Down here, really see the modification, if you will. Sorry. Let me zoom in there. So you can see, I don't know if they used an air chisel or what they used. It might even been a torch, I'm not sure, but it looks a little clean for that. I'm not sure what they used, but either way, tin snips, air chisel, beaver teeth. They did something pretty rough. Down here it definitely looks like torch. But so we need to fix all that mess in there. So that's going to be a little bit of work to make that not be as ugly. So we're not. Although if we really wanted to, we could adjust the timing from right inside of the car. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, there's that. You can see all the linkage for the cowl vent. I tried opening that. It's stuck as stuck can be. Although it doesn't look rusty there, I'm wondering if the rubber seal up at the cowl is just like bonded to the metal from not being open for so long. So I'm going to try and get that to work before we get any further. It'd be nice just to get that thing operating before I take it apart. And then there's the windshield crank section. Tilt the windshield out. It actually looks like that stuff's in pretty good shape, so I'm hoping it's just a matter of lubing everything up and breaking it free, and then that stuff will be all happy and usable again. So I'm gonna work on that stuff for now, and then get that out, get the windshield frame out, which might be a little bit of a bear. But after we get all that stuff out, then we're kind of home free for starting to attack what we're gonna do in this mess. I've been dreading this possibly as much as that rear corner. So not gonna be fun, but we just gotta do it so we can move on with this project. I have some of these plastic pry tools. I'm gonna try and pry on the cowl vent a little bit, see if I can separate the rubber. There we go. There we go. Yes. Oh man. She is a little sticky. Almost out. I need to restock there. Okay. Let's give it a try. There we go. Hopefully this right side is a little more seized, but it's starting to. I think the hardware is loose on that side too. That's not helping. Either way. There it goes. Nothing more satisfying than getting things freed up in an old car like that. We're stuck. All right, success. All right, so I'm gonna by myself tonight, so I'm trying to be cameraman in, work everything. So, trying to see if get that. It does not seem happy. Although I just saw it move a little bit. And get it to go again. I can hear it moving. If it wants to. Get all these pivot points. Anywhere where anything might move or be binding up there. Use liberally. And then guessing up top here somewhere. Up there is probably some hinge location, so I'm gonna have to spray some stuff up in there. I'm gonna try and work it by hand and see if I can get this thing to turn, but basically it seems to me the splines are okay, or I mean the splines and the knob are okay. It's just, and I'm seeing the windshield here. I can get it to kind of go out a little bit, and then if I turn it the other way, see it's hard to see, but it's starting to close up there. So I think it's working. I just gotta Yeah, actually, if you look right here, watch. It's moving this arm, so I think it's just the windshield probably seized up at the hinges up top and it can't overcome. So that's where we got to be careful. If this thing isn't already stripped, the little like die cast gears or ramp in this thing, it's really easy to break. I learned from one of the guys that views our channel. I sold some 39 parts to off the parts car, and he is an expert with these. That's one of the only cars he messes with, and he educated me big time on some of this stuff. So I was taking one of these out to sell to him. He was, telling me how careful you have to be. So definitely want to lube this all up to make sure I can get it broken free before we get too crazy and take this all apart. I want to get everything broken free and see if I can make sure it works. Oh. Yeah, it's the hinge up there on the driver's side. It's kind of rusty up in the cowl there, so that might have been an area where it makes sense why it's all tight in there. Spray all this stuff. This Croil is worth its weight in Croil, because this stuff is expensive. But man, it works awesome. Okay, so we got the windshield out, got the dash out, pretty much got everything out that I wanted to do tonight, and I'm really happy that I was able to just see what I'm working with. So the positives of what we found out tonight. Dash is in good shape. It's not rotted out behind. It's actually really clean. It has the incorrect clock in it, so I did acquire a factory 39 Deluxe clock out of my parts car and the trim that goes around it. Hoping it didn't cut the glove box lid up too much so that I can reuse the original clock. I got some of the trim, etc. I got all that stuff sitting aside, which is great. When we go back together, I can start putting that stuff on. The other positive is the windshield frame is actually in really good shape. If you look around the outside edges of it where it was hidden behind the seal, that's a spot where any old car tends to rot, and it can break your heart when you take a windshield frame out and you see it all rotten totally sucks. So on this car, it's actually really clean aside from some flaking paint. Looks good. I'm probably going to tape all that off, clean it all up, tape it off, and then use some Eastwood rust encapsulator to seal it up so that everything's good when we put the windshield frame back in, and we don't have to worry about any rust forming over time more than what's on the outside of the car. So that was some of the good stuff. The bads. Obviously the firewall sucks. It's all cut up. It's a mess. It's not going to be fun, but taking the dash out allowed me to actually see everything, and I could get a much better plan of attack working on that, so I'm glad that I did it, taking the dash out. The other thing that totally sucks that I just found when I was taking everything apart is the driver's side door jamb at the top where the A-pillar kind of turns into the door jamb. I never noticed it before until I was working on the windshield, but it's rotten, not good. Right when it comes from the A-pillar and wraps up, that's right where I was kind of, you guys might have heard me mention, it looked a little crusty when I was taking the screws out of the windshield hinge area. Yeah, well, I think there was like a mouse nest or something in there, and you know, all that moisture and pee and everything that rodents do rotted out the A-pillar at the top there, or the door jamb at the top. So I'm gonna have to address that because it's not patina anymore, it is rot. So I need to cut that out, but I'm gonna wait till a little further along in the project to take care of that. I wanna get the firewall under control, some of this other stuff, and then we can work on fixing a little spot. Since it's kind of hidden, it won't be too bad. I can just cut it out, kind of TIG weld it in and blend it all in, and it won't be too hurtful. So that's all we have for this part of the project. It's kind of just a discovery of what's going on with the firewall and cowl area of the 39 Forgotten Hot Rod project. Hope you guys enjoy these videos and you're as excited as I am about getting this car on the road. I'm trying to kick butt on it so that when springtime comes around, we can actually take this thing and put it on the road and start driving it and enjoying it. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. We do videos on Tuesdays, Fridays, Sundays. Subscribe, share with a friend, all that great stuff. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.